Have you ever stepped out of your comfort zone? Well, I'm about to. Normally I talk about biology and nerdy stuff about calves, but today we're going to talk about psychology. So we'll get going. Sometimes we think about self-discipline when we think about maybe self-control as we're trying to become better parents, as we're trying to work through different challenges in our lives. But today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about self-discipline as it relates to calf management. Well, there's four really kind of key aspects of any kind of study of self-discipline. There's thoughts, there's emotions, there's behaviors, and finally habits. And so let's walk through all four of these pieces to the puzzle and kind of get a better understanding of how self-discipline can really help us be better calf managers. Okay? The first one is our thoughts. When we go out to do chores in the morning and again in the evening, we kind of run through, a checklist of what we're about to do, but really the important aspect of that is also the why and the how we're going to get something done, right? And making sure we understand the process we're about ready to go through. And that not only is true for the managers, but also all the staff kind of working together to get the calves taken care of as far as that goes. One of the most important aspects of the thoughts are to develop a goal, develop a plan, right? And kind of see that through. Oftentimes your goals or your plan will really help drive your choices and all those choices that you make every day within your calf management program. Sometimes it's helpful to have key metrics when we think about those choices or thoughts that we go through. What key metric drives your thoughts when it comes to your calf program? Is it cost per pound to gain, morbidity and mortality rate, perhaps percent of heifers that are moving into the first lactation strain, kind of reflecting upon that success that you gained there? So having your thoughts and understanding the calf biology. The second one is emotions. When you're dealing with calves or any neonate, it certainly is physically and certainly can be mentally challenging. And it's important to kind of keep an even keel about things, not too high, not too low, slow and steady as she goes, right? One of the things that's kind of interesting is when we get our emotions a little bit out of check, sometimes that really impacts our behavior, certainly. And the interesting physiological aspect of this is when we get a little bit of an adrenaline surge, we get upset, our emotions start to kind of get rolling and a little bit out of control, some interesting things happen to blood flow within your brain. Your normal fight or flight kind of response, it pushes blood towards the base of your brain and away from your thinking area there in your cerebellum. So when people get really emotional, you're doing the fight or flight thing. You're not able to really think through problems and work the problems, and sometimes you make things worse by guessing or not really kind of understanding the full picture. The third thing is behavior. The actual act of taking care of your calves and managing through your young stock and doing the right thing every day, right? And that's behaviors. The goal is to kind of think back to your thoughts and what that major goal was, and then develop a plan to kind of see that through. The behavior seeing through of those goals. You're doing what's right every day, having a can-do attitude. And I love this kind of catchphrase that I saw in a producer's barn that said, no calves or no heifers, no future for the dairy. And so feel really good about what you do every day. It's challenging, but the behaviors that you put together every day to take care of calves have a long-term impact on the future of the farm. It's important to self-monitor your behaviors or perhaps the behavior of your staff and kind of maintaining that those behaviors are being kind of followed through. The fourth and final component of this is habits. And habits actually represent about 40% of the behavior. So it's a big chunk of that third piece of the puzzle in behaviors. It's really kind of like automated goal seeking. Like we get up in the morning, we have different goals, and it becomes part of a routine, and those routines become habits that help us kind of work through and maintain those behaviors. And so certainly establishing good habits, understanding why we do those habits, help kind of give you some muscle memory in terms of doing the same thing every day. And I would say probably the volume of milk being fed to a calf is one thing where maybe you're not really thinking about it because you're doing it so many times, but developing a habit in terms of making sure that that volume is very, very consistent. Oftentimes we'll use the if-then from a habit standpoint. If something happens, then I'm going to do this, and following the habit. For example, if I know the weather is about to change, so my habit is I may monitor the weather, then I may change the curtains according to a prescribed set of recommendations. It's got to be repeatable and impactful, right? Having habits that we don't follow through with or that are not impactful, that kind of waste time or are not efficient, are certainly those that kind of detract. So whenever we're thinking about self-control or self-discipline within calves or any other part of your life, there's really 4 key attributes: the thoughts, the emotions, the behaviors, and the habits. And so think about these 4 key aspects whenever you're kind of evaluating your calf program and trying to do things a little better every day. With that, I'm Noah Litherland with Vita Plus and another edition of Calf Chat. Thanks for your time.